So are you doing okay, Nicole?
So far, so good. Yeah, I had a friend in from Washington State this past like 4 days or something like that, and
Fun?
just dropped her off at the airport. So,
Oh, wow. How fun. That's awesome.
yeah.
We actually haven't talked face to face, I don't think, have we?
No, it was
This
a
is
little
first
bit.
time.
Yeah, we had that one. Oh, I forgot who we were doing the same concept with, very briefly, but that was about it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I know that we've texted back and forth, PM and whatever, but we've never actually gotten to visit. So this is good.
Yeah, super fun.
Yes. And I'm so happy that you took your time to come and join me because I know everybody's so busy. I know your band has got to be busy and your life is busy with your friend and whatever. So thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And by the way, the video that you shared earlier this week that was kind of really kind of a laid back song with all of the tight vocals, man, that was so good. I had not seen that video before.
Thank you so much. Yeah, awesome. Christ be magnified. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was an honor to get to do that version of that song. So
that's amazing. I loved it. I loved it. Okay. Well, I guess let's just go ahead and get started. I know that there's going to be more people joining us. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Robin. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I've muted everybody. It's an automatic thing, but if you want to talk, just unmute and you can talk. The reason I do that is because if an artist is already chatting with me, if somebody's got kids running around or dogs barking in the background, I don't want that to be in our recording. So, but if you have a question or you want to interject something, then please feel free to do that. Okay, this is all just, we're going to be chatting back and forth. So, and I'll open it up for questions for you guys as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just get started. Nicole, I am dying to hear your backstory because I've seen you play. You're amazing. Your band is amazing. But I don't know how you got into drums and how you got the gig with that amazing band and the other things that you've done. So why don't we just start from the beginning? How did you get started playing drums?
Absolutely. I mean, if I take it way back in elementary school, I think this is where it like started because I've been asked that a few times, like, why did you choose the drums? And someone came in with a snare drum for one of those elementary school little assemblies. They came in, they played it slow, and then they played it super fast, and then they played it slow. And that was like the moment. For some reason, I'm like, I guess I'm hooked. So played drums all the way through college, just in worship teams, didn't study it, was obsessed with it outside of my studies. I didn't realize it. It was just a natural overflow of, this is what I want to do. When I have nothing to do, I found drums and I played them. But it wasn't until I got out of college and got connected into a big church out in Portland. And in that church at that time, there happened to be these amazing CCM artists. There was a guy from Telecast, some of the guys that have written some other songs that really did well. But anyways, the basis of that team there was packed with talent. And it exposed me to this new level of, well, what if you played what was on the recording? You could really, showcase this new level of foundation and authority as a drummer. So that's what really got my chops going. And from that point, we had a mutual friend at that church that was connected to a ministry called Luis Palau. And through his network, he knew of an artist named Holly Starr that was looking for a drummer, and she reached out to me, and I played with her for about 6 years. And she's just an independent artist, mostly plays out in the Northwest, but does play some across the country. And that really got my chops. I had to learn how to play in small rooms, play for 4 people, play for a festival where, there's 15,000 people there, but maybe, 20 of them are watching you. It depends on your time slot, really. And yeah, just continue to be faithful to that circumstance, which was hard. When you're a smaller band like that, when you're independent and no one's helping you, you're the one having to do the work. I learned how to do road managing. I learned how to do Ableton. I learned how to do all the things to be a jack of all trades, not just for show, but was with this intention of serving, that I can come by and I can help anybody. And yeah, out of that ministry in that time, 6 years with Holly, I got connected with IMA. It was kind of one of those, we saw them on the road. They had a girl drummer, and I thought that was super cool. So at one point I DM'd that drummer, Sarah Palmer, and was like, can we like talk? Cause you're a girl drummer and I am too. And I just thought that we should be friends. I mean, that's literally what I did. And a few years after that, she reached out to me and she's like, I'm moving on. I'm going into management for the band, and we'd love to have you try out. And
wow.
That's how that happened. It was one of those crazy, that story could be a little elongated as well, that piece. But
sure, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
How cool. And it is so much in this industry. It is so much the relationships that you build. It is so much who you meet, who you know, who you reach out to, who you're on stage with. It's all of those little connections and all of that hard work that you do in the background to prepare yourself for whatever comes next. And like you said, you did the hard work of, I had to learn Ableton. I had to learn how to manage, our band and do all these things. You've made yourself a person that all bands would want. And not everyone does that because they think, oh, I can play. So that's not the only thing that you need as an artist, though. You need so many other skills. One thing I think people never talk about is being really easy to get along with and being very flexible with your band, because I don't care how good of a musician you are. If you have a bad attitude, I do not want to work with you, And I have fired one of the best guitarists I've ever played with before because he has a terrible attitude, and that's just not who I want on stage with me. So, and I know that you are the type of person that has an amazing attitude and you have a heart for service. And so that will keep you hired. You're making yourself a very hireable drummer. So with I Am They, how long have you guys been together and touring?
Yeah, for sure. I have been with the band. It's so hard to count last year because it just is a blur.
Right.
But 2 years now. I've been with them for 2 years, and they've been a band since 2008. So it's about 12 years in the making. Okay. A lot of hard work. We've been signed to Sony Records for the last 6 years, I believe, 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
So they've been doing the hard work now, for that, in particular, the last 7 years, road dogging really hard. So.
Yeah. And I know that you guys, have you traveled internationally with them?
Correct. Yeah. It was 2 years ago. We went to Europe, and where were we? The European trips are so hard. It sounds, a lot of the stuff in music sounds like it'd be so incredible. You travel the world. It's like, well, we travel the world while I sleep in the back of a bus. And, and you get to a venue and
I don't get to see any of it. I'm on the stage.
I can walk to it. Maybe I'll see something. European trip. We went to the Netherlands. We went to Scotland, UK, England. One other place, Rotterdam. I don't know. We went 4 places. But yeah, so we have got to do a little bit of that in Canada. Hey, Canada, good to see you. So,
right. Yeah, Cindy is Canadian.
Woo!
Hey. Where are you, Cindy? What part of Canada?
I'm in Ottawa, Canada, near Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Awesome. Okay, so this last year, I mean, every band has had a hit because all shows were canceled. And I know that some bands have been doing live streams to stay in touch with their fans and with the public, and different things like that. So has your band gone back into the studio, or have you guys been doing some live streaming, or what have you guys been doing to kind of stay together as a band and stay in touch with your fans and followers, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for everyone. We instantly, when the pandemic hit, that was March 16th. I'm looking at our old tour poster that
right.
But we had a 26-city tour planned. It was ready to go. We were selling out shows, and it just shut down. And within a week, I think we're about a week or 2 weeks after those shut down, we instantly pivoted. We were probably one of the first bands to truly pivot to this online platform where we created 12 shows very quickly, different time zones, different places we were targeting, and went into that mode, which was really helpful. It was something like to give us hope in that season and to give us community, because we were all experiencing a trauma, and to be able to pull together that way was really beautiful. That was a piece I'll look back on with incredible memory, just because of the way we came around each other and said, like, we're not done yet. God's not done with us. Let's keep moving. Let's do these things. So we got through that up and through maybe June or so. And at that point, we had Matt, he's usually wearing a hat, actually. He's
yeah.
He broke his wrist, and actually in this picture, his wrist is broken. They just photoshopped it out.
Oh,
he's got a big cast on.
Nice.
So he was out of the picture. I actually had surgery on my wrist and my elbow because I was having some issues. I had a ganglion cyst that just I woke up one morning and then I just couldn't move my wrist, so had to have surgery.
Oh man.
That was like a 3-6 month recovery. And so we took basically all of summer off. And then I think we pulled together maybe 15 shows last year, just with coronavirus restrictions. And we just made a point of making sure that we talk through, because with 5 of us, we're a very diverse group of people. That's the way, I mean, most bands are that way, but we really lean into that. And knowing that some of us were more on we don't care about X, Y, and Z, and some of them, we really care. So we found that common ground again, the heart behind the issue, and move forward with shows with that same heart and intent, hopefully leading before us. So we managed to stay together, I think, because of, one, discussing our differences and still trying to find ways to play shows, which was was life-giving until, you know, every once in a while we had to cancel one because someone was exposed to someone who might have coronavirus, those things, which is heartbreaking because you finally get your hope up a little bit and it's taken away again. So yeah, I think the main thing, we continue to do some shows, and we recorded some videos, that Christ Be Magnified. We just put that out. We work with some companies like Essential Worship to do some more recorded versions of our songs, more acoustic and stripped back, which I think we'll actually do this week. We've got a couple more video shoots coming.
Very good. I love that. So where are you based out of?
I'm in Franklin, Tennessee, and pretty much the entire band is in Nashville. So
yeah. So many CCM artists are in Franklin and not Nashville proper.
Correct.
Yeah.
All the record labels are pretty much here. So that helps. And just touring, it's just a great central location. You can get anywhere within 6 to 8 hours. You know?
So much. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. In fact, when Drummergirls United starts doing clinics again, one of the clinics is going to be in the Nashville area. So I would love to talk to you about being a clinician. That's another discussion, but you're going to hopefully be there. We can plan around your schedule, but I would love to have you as part of that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be wonderful. I would love that. Okay, so right now we have 10-ish people on, and I know that there's going to be tons of people watching on YouTube and social media. So I'm going to open up to you guys. If you have a question for Nicole, let's go ahead and do that now, and then I'll go back to my questioning. Anybody? Sherry, did you have anything that you wanted to ask?
Putting you on the spot, Sherry.
Hi, Nicole. I'm actually really curious as to what life is like on tour.
Yeah.
Is it exhausting? Is it like physically exhausting? How do you keep in shape when you're doing that? I'm sure you're eating food, all kinds of food from all over the place, and how do you stay fit as a drummer?
Yeah, part of it, honestly, I'm vegan, so that helps. I call myself, I'm what I call an opportunistic vegan though. So if I'm super tired and it's been a rough day and they've got cheesecake in the green room, I might have a but honestly, that helps a ton because just what I eat in general tends to just not be as heavy, I guess. But outside of that, because I'm also doubling as a road manager some of the time, I'm running all day. I've actually been trying to, I really operate off of core values. And one of my core values personally is that I ruthlessly eliminate hurry in order to be fully present with people. And I know when I'm doing my road manager duties, sometimes I I get moving so fast during the day, making sure everybody's okay, that by the time the show comes, I'm exhausted. So I've been trying to figure out how I can slow myself down and be more intentional with people when I talk to them, because that can be exhausting. As far as traveling on the road, we travel in all sorts of different situations. Some of them are, we call them like one-offs. And that just means it's not part of it, like an elongated tour. It's like, here's a festival here, and we'll do a concert over there and a concert over here. If we're flying to those days can be brutal, because they're usually flying us in that morning. So we'll wake up at 3. We'll sound check as soon as we get to wherever it is. It may be 2 or 3 in the afternoon if it's that style of the show. And then we'll play that night at 8 o'clock at night. And then we'll wake up the next morning and get up at 3 to fly out and, get back to the next show. Sometimes we drive ourselves in our own Sprinter van. And I kind of like that one the best, because we're all in our modded out Sprinter van, which has got bunks in the back, but we're all we're with each other, and we're close. We go eat together. But again, we could be driving 6 hours that day to get to the show, to load in, to play the show, to go to bed, repeat. So it can absolutely be exhausting, but when you know why you're doing it and you love the people around, and like Tammy said, we've learned how to be good hangs and what good hang for each of us looks like. Because my good hang is different than like Abby in our band. We operate a lot of the Enneagram, which I don't know, I don't have enough time right to talk through that, but I'm a 3, which is this perfectionist. Like, I love goals and vision. Abby is a 5, and she needs to have rest. She loves to analyze things and think through things, but she needs rest. So her good hang, like, she has time during the week to hang out, but if she has to say no to something, it's okay. We let her have that space, just knowing that she can still be invited, but she may not want to hang every single time. So just kind of honoring each individual person, that helps when you're traveling. So
I love all of the things that you just said so much. And I so much wish that, I know you don't have a lot of time, but if you ever decided that you wanted to do like some kind of 5-minute video on, this is how you are a good band person. Ooh. This is the way to do it. This is the formula on being a successful bandmate. You could teach just what you just said, and that would be perfect, because you have to know who you are, and you have to know who they are, and you have to honor that. Yes. But also, like you said, knowing how to slow down and be present with people is so extremely important. Don't you hate it when you're sitting across from someone that you've been dying to talk to, and they pick up their phone every few seconds? That is so rude, and I hate it. And I have been guilty of it. And I now I keep my phone in my purse, and I try not to remember that I own one. But yeah, that's so important. And if you ever decide that you would love to put that up, or to do a live or something, I would love for you to do that, because I think that's really important for any of the new drummers that are coming up, or drummers that are wanting to join bands, because I think that is such an important thing for you to know as a person. You don't need to just know chops. You don't need to know just how to play anything and everything. There are so many other aspects of being a good drummer. It's not just what you do on the drums. To be successful in your band, it's not just what you do behind the kit. And I think not many people talk about that, but I'm so glad that you brought it up, because it's so important. I've been playing since the 70s, and I don't know that I've ever heard someone talk about that. So that's important. I think if you ever decide to put a video together, I would be so appreciative, and I think the people that watch it would also get so much from it. So that's my 2 cents. I'm off my soapbox now.
I do honestly have a lot of time right now. We have like 6 shows between now and June, and then we've got about 40 that are on the books at this point. So it's finally starting to pick up. Thank the Lord.
Yes.
So I do have some time. So I'd love to discuss what it would look like, or just put together a video of some sort. Because
I would love that. That would be perfect. And thank you so much. Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question about something Nicole said? So I am kind of similar to like running around, making sure everything is taken care of. And I'm wondering what kind of specific things do you do that, because you mentioned how you like to be intentional or like focus on that person. What specific things do you do, like in the moment, like when you're running to or from one place, doing this and that? What do you do? How do you make people feel special around you?
Well, so I have like 11 different core values that I talk, it's basically mantras that I've created, and that I speak over myself every day. And another one of those is that I love, honor, protect, and respect. I want to say love. It's just keep saying love. I do say my family now, but my bandmates in particular, in my words, my actions, and my thoughts. So even in my thoughts. So I think it's been vital that I've protected them in my thoughts before I even get to them. So when I have a conversation with them, I don't have a lot of pretense of bad things, or distracting things. I've allowed myself to kind of that space to just be with that person. I don't know if that completely makes sense. It's just kind of this pureness of thought towards those people that I'm caring for. And it also helps that whole I ruthlessly eliminate hurry. When I notice that I'm talking fast, I slide it. I even try to, even right now, as I'm starting to slur a little bit, I'll try to slow my cadence down just so that I can speak with more authority, have more time to think. And if I start to feel my thoughts are rushing, taking a deep breath in, as silly as that might sound, the power of taking a breath in is the realization that I need that breath right now. I'll have to keep taking breaths, but I need to slow down right now, which is what I do when I get stressed on stage too. We'll have a track issue, something pops up, or someone accidentally goes an extra bar and our tracks are now completely off. What do I got? No one has to deal with it. I've got all my limbs going and I'm the one who gets to deal with it. So I got to calm down. And that's what I've taught myself to do. When I need to calm down, I take a deep breath, and that has over habit and over time has reminded me to be present.
Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Love that.
So valuable. Such good information. Let's get back to some of the things that I do want to continue to talk about this because it's so good. It's so good, Nicole. But let's get back to some of your drumming things. Now, you've talked about Ableton, and for not everyone that's listening to this, either here or in the future, they're not gonna know what Ableton is. So can you talk about that?
Yeah. So with our band, we are a 5-person band, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can't pull off every single sound that you hear on the record. So the point of Ableton is, one, to fill in all those pieces, those sonic pieces. So we'll have maybe electric guitar or a sub bass, some percussion stuff. All that's going through a program that is also sending a click or a metronome out to our ears. And you can control what goes to the front of house and what goes to just our ears. And through that program, when I hit play, I've designed it that it will start at the beginning of the song. It'll go intro, 2, 3, 4. And now all of those extra pieces will start playing as we play along with it. So it's kind of a glorified karaoke machine, if you will. But it gives you, there are tons of things you can do with it. Right now it's operating our video system. So I line up all of our videos are in sync with it. So every time we hit play, you get this same video effect. You can do lighting effects. There's just, the sky is the limit with Ableton. Lots of things can connect to it so that you're in the metronome in time with your music every time.
Yeah. I use that a lot when I play shows with whoever. And that's, I don't know it very well though, but I have that backing track in my head. And it's so nice to have those extra things that the band can't possibly pull off that they can do in post-production or, on the record. So nice. Okay. So I know that you played, as growing up, you were playing in churches, you were playing in worship bands, you're in a Christian band now. So obviously faith is something very core and important to you. Have you played in any other types of bands besides worship bands or Christian bands, praise bands, that kind of thing?
I really haven't. It's been this really a holy walk, I guess, in this vocational direction. Just vocational meaning that it's more set aside for God. That I tried to do other things outside of drumming. At first I went to school to be a doctor, started getting into that program after I graduated with my undergrad, and started doing the MCAT stuff. And I'm like, I just feel like I'm getting dumber and dumber. I can't do this. So I stepped away from that. I tried flight school. I did personal training. I have my degree in radiological sciences. So I actually worked in radiology for a season. And all the while, when I was stressed out and I didn't know what to do, I kept running back to the drum side of things, and was in worship bands, and I kept having opportunities there. Never once thinking I'd make it in an actual like band. I do this for a living. So it really it's just continued to be that when I play drums, it's always been in a worship environment. Just kind of the way it seems like God keeps pushing me back. He's like, no, you're supposed to be over here. No,
this is where you're supposed to be.
No.
I get it. And that's it's so weird, the things that you clicked off, because I was going to be a doctor. Mm-hmm. I ended up I was in radiology school. I was a semester from graduating, but I had to have surgery, so I didn't graduate. I was a personal trainer. And now I do, I'm in praise bands, and I play. I didn't do flight school, so darn it, went off. Okay, so this next year, you said that you've got a bunch of shows coming from June on. So you're talking about around the United States?
Correct. Right now, we do have one show in Canada. I can't remember where it's at right now, but just in Canada, if that's helpful.
Yay.
But the rest of them right now are still just within the US. I think we would love to get back to Europe. We just had an article written in a Dutch magazine. So we have a lot of actually pull and influence over in Europe. And we actually have some pretty high ratings in like India, and there's quite a few countries. So we do want to get out, but I think we're just waiting for financially for it to make sense. It needs to this is a season of let's do really smart things. Let's be conscious of how much money we're taking in and putting out. We don't need to take risks this year. Last year was risk for everyone.
Right. So I know that you had some downtime because of the wrist, but because basically all of your income from all of the shows disappeared, what did you do then to make money, to make up for that money? Were you teaching lessons, or were you doing, what other things were you doing?
Well, to be transparent, because of the situation, and we all talked about it, we actually qualified for unemployment because of the way that everything's set up. So the government took care of us. Whether that money will exist forever, I don't know.
Right.
At the end of 2 years, I don't know. But that was one of the main things that helped me for sure. That was a huge blessing at the same time. So that was that. Because of all the extra downtime, and especially when everybody was in lockdown, I just spent a lot of time alone. So I really had to fight some demons of isolation and figure out what that looked like. I tried to, obviously you can only do, I live in an apartment because when usually in normal life, I'm home maybe 2 days a week, if that. And most of the time that's sleeping and doing laundry. That's all I need. So an apartment's been great. But since with the lockdown, I had to figure out how do I keep fresh on drums here. Oh crap, this is gonna suck. So I was just on practice pads with not even regular sticks, something super light that I could just continue to keep hand speed, a few of the rudiments going. So I spent a lot of time basically building out a plan for me each day to try to tackle on the drums, do an hour or two. Sometimes if I got crazy, I'd get up in the 4-hour range. And then the rest of the days, I just sat in a chair and I stared. So
well, that probably helped you.
I do read a lot, so that's
okay. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so gosh, I had so many questions lined up, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys ask. Sherry, did you want to ask anything about her heartbeat endorsement? Because I know that was interesting to you.
Sure.
We had talked about that a little bit.
I love heartbeat symbols. I after Tammy was out at our place, out at the farm for camp last November, I'm like, Okay, now I know which cymbals to buy, and I basically copied her kit and what cymbals she uses on hers. But I'm curious, which ones are you using? Are you using the customs? Are you using the studios? What is your favorite, actually?
Yeah, I have 15-inch hi-hats, and I've got the customs, which I've used for about the last 7 or 8 years. Recently got classics, and I love those.
I have the 15 classics too, and the custom droids. I have the custom droids.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to try to experiment with some different combinations of cymbals just to see if I can get that real nice sizzle, kind of the Mike Johnston, like that buttery sizzle.
Yeah.
Talks about. But my 15-inch hi-hats, those ones with the classic, I'm really liking right now. I just bought a new 21-inch custom light crash, and a 22 classic light as well, which almost, to me, I had the original 22 classic, and it was like a medium light. This new just light one almost feels more like an epic ride. So it's more washy, it has less high tones and low tones. It just is super washy, which I like. My favorite cymbal is this 22-inch jazz ride, actually, and I use it mostly as a crash. And it sits in that sweet spot of the cymbal. Again, I don't like I like more of a dark, washy cymbal, which just means those tones, when you hear like the super bright and shrill stuff, it's not a lot of that. And it sizzles in this spot and just kind of hits everybody in the face, but they like it.
That's a great description of dark and washy. I love that.
It fills the space and they like it.
Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
Okay, so what about other endorsements that you have?
My main one is with Heartbeat, and they approached me, gosh, that was when I first started with Holly like 8 years ago. And they're like, we love what you're doing. We see that you're a woman. We think that's awesome. Tell us all the cymbals you want. And so they set me up with all of my cymbals. So that ever since then, I've been like, I will stay with you forever, because you guys are great. And
they really are great.
Yeah, they've been easy to work with, and they're fast. Anything you need, they get to you fast. We just got fully endorsed with Loop Community, which is what we're talking about with Ableton, the track rig. So they just gave us this brand new rig. Basically, when you hook in your computer to get it to front of house, like with the guitar, you have to plug it into that DI box, direct input box. This is the same thing, but it's with 8 channels. So I can send the click, I can send bass, electric guitar, all the different things. We spread them out so that our front of house guy, Drew, can then mix every piece to sound just right. So yeah, that's the only other endorsement I work with. I've kind of thought about reaching out to a head company, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those, I haven't had the time. And then recently I haven't had the drive. I've worked with Parrish and Risen as custom drum companies, but I like classic vintage drums like Ludwig, or I've got a Slingerland kit. And so I'm kind of sitting in the classic vintage spot right now and liking those. I can tune them up and make them sound however I want. So that's kind of where
that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So besides the shows coming up, do you have anything like, do you guys mostly do outdoor gigs? Do you do churches? Do you do big theater kind of places? Where's the normal place that you guys would play?
In a normal situation, I'd say we sit more in we can sell out a room between 600 and 1,000 people. So we're looking at kind of bigger churches, moderate size to bigger churches. But I'd say we play that size church and smaller. I mean, we sometimes will go sell out and do a couple shows at a church that seats 300 people. And we've got a few of those lined up where we'll do matinee type style shows, but we've played everything up until 2 years ago we played in Viking Stadium in front of 25,000 people. So we'll do everything. I mean, and then the next day we'll go play for a church with 300 people in it. So it's just, that's part of the touring on the road thing too, is you just get punched in the face constantly with like, you're tired, you're really high in front of 25,000 people, you're not sure if you feel right now in front of 300. What's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Then you get home and you do your laundry and you get your groceries and like no one's even waving at you. And it's just like, what's wrong with me? It's just a weird life. It's super weird, but we play everything. But I'd say like in a typical year, we sit in that 600 to 1,000 people a show.
Nice. Okay. So talk to all the listeners about going into the studio and recording. Was that a hard thing for you to go from playing in a church situation or playing in a live band situation to going into a recording situation?
So here's actually another transparent piece. I did not play drums on the new album. That was one of the things coming into it. And this might be kind of the shocker thing that I told them up front, that's way too stressful for me. I have zero experience with it. So I told them, and I know, I mean, there was Sony Records. I didn't want to mess up this next album because I was freaked out and I couldn't get myself to even play like a boom, check, boom, boom, check. So I told them going into it, I would love for that to be a goal of mine, the next project, but I'm too stressed right now. That's too much for me. My first year coming into this is high octane, high powered music, and I've never recorded it in a studio. So I watched them. We hired that out. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing drummers here in Nashville, which that's their main and sole job, is they just get music. They pop out amazing stuff. This guy like Paul Mayberry, for example, he's the guy that put down most of the songs like that you hear on the radio. It's Paul Mayberry, but another drummer comes in and plays it for the concerts. We hired out all those guys to design those parts, because really the thing that's beautiful, and the thing that I humbly said, I'm not ready for this, is that every piece of the song is so beautifully designed. What the drummer does is not exactly what the bass player does. It's this perfect melody and partnership. And that partnership, there's a partnership with the electric guitar and with the percussion and with the acoustic guitars and the melodies and the harmonies. Everything's this beautiful orchestration and partnership. And I didn't feel like I felt where that partnership sits if I don't have any instruction. I've only operated with, here's how I chart a song. Like I can hear any song and pretty much write down exactly how to do it. And I love that. That's my call. Like I'm passionate and I'm good at that. So I'm sitting in that space right now with the hopes and praying that if I'm supposed to, I would love to go into the recording studio and start to do that and have confidence in myself that I can do it. So there's the honest truth on that one.
I love that. And you know what?
That was me.
On which one? I'm sorry.
Christ be magnified. That one that we just put, the one in the live recordings, those are me.
Yeah. But that was fantastic. And you did such a good job. But yeah, I get that, because I've been in the recording studio, and that is a very stressful situation, because this is forever. Once that track is laid down, you can do a couple of takes and that kind of thing to make sure that it's tight with the band. But that's a lot of expense to either a label, or if you're producing it yourself and you're in the studio, you don't want to be the person that's causing everything to hold up. So yeah. I get that. So how are you going to maybe train to do that? What is the plan?
One of the drum instructors you may or may not be familiar with, Mike Johnston.
Of course, I love Mike.
Yeah, his resources are phenomenal. And he said that soon, I need to reach out to him and figure out exactly when that's happening. He's creating a new path for if you want to be a studio drummer, if you want to be a road gigging drummer, if you want to be he's created all these paths. And once that comes out, my plan is to then study that studio course to figure out what
brilliant.
Like. Up until then, I've been trying to not be so rigid, because usually when I sit down to, like, if I'm going to play at a church, I will take, if we're playing 4 songs and I haven't heard them before, I'll spend 4 to 6 hours on each song that week before. So I am just in a drum cage usually, charting out that song for about an hour and a half. And then I play that exact part over and over and over until it seems like I've always known it. So now I'm trying to let myself listen to like jazz, funk, or listen to some styles of music I'm not used to, and just letting myself play along and create. because I've never had to create. I literally have never had to create. So when they're like, play a drum solo, I'm like, let me design something. Like, I can't just create, because that's what I've done to myself. As much as it sounds like it's a hindrance and maybe like, oh, that's kind of weird, why'd you do that? At the same time, I'm so strong at being able to replicate that it's got me to where I'm at today. That's what a lot of bands are looking for, is someone who's willing to just be the heartbeat. I'm just pushing that same beat the whole time. They don't want me to speed up. They don't want me to slow down. They don't want me to skip a beat. They want a foundation to stand on, so that when she goes to sing that high note, she knows that I'm dropping out that fill at that point. And every time she can lay into it, and then I'll crash her back in. And, you know, it's just, again, it's that partnership. So that's what I thrive in. So I'm hoping to kind of let myself be creative on the side.
I love that. And so how did you get to the point where you are able to notate music so well? What instruction did you have?
I played drums in school up until middle school. And I played a little piano, not anything I would show anybody but myself. I can play this. But so I know at that time, I knew like up to eighth notes, which is really not much notation wise. I was like, okay, I understand the basic concept of notation, how we're splitting apart. Each bar will, you're going to have a note that will, you can equally subdivide into eternity, but how they look and how they're written, I really had to, at first, I just created a language or something on the page that would remind me enough of what I thought I was hearing on a recording. That was where I started, where I was like, I'll draw this note that has like this tail, kind of, I think I saw. And I think that means it's not like a normal, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's somewhere in between the 2 and the 3. I don't know where. I think I'll remember if I just put that tail thing. And now it's to the point where it became such an important thing to me that I studied it. I went back and I said, okay, I recognize now that I hear this, I hear, okay, we're in 30-second notes. That's why I can't draw it. What does it look like? Let me go on Google and search 30-second notes notation. And I just had to relearn how to write out all those pieces. So it was another study. So.
Nice. Good for you. I am not, my transparency, I am not at all a very good reader of music, because I taught myself how to play. So I never learned. So I'm really good at being able to listen to a song and duplicate it and memorize it really fastly, like break it down, deconstruct it, reconstruct it. And that's one of the classes I taught at the camp with Sherry, is how to deconstruct music and reconstruct it. But I don't do it very much. I'm still in the area where I think this is what it kind of looks like. And I know exactly what I mean when I write it like this, but yeah. I would never be able to teach somebody how to notate, because I'm very weak and I need to get better. But I understand exactly what you're saying with that. I just kind of stumble through that you understand what you're writing.
Yeah, I think that first piece is recognizing like each subdivision, so you can start to hear where that subdivision is, and then chasing down, okay, I'm missing this piece, like Mike Johnston said, this piece of my armor is missing right now. Go chase it down, learn it, so that you can add that, oh, now I can write triplets and I don't feel weird because I know how they write, because triplets are a weird one to write in drum music. But yeah, and I adapted it still. My notation looks a little different from classical notation. For example, like most people use the X in their notation as the top, like representing cymbals. I actually prefer to have that as my snare. I mean, that's just a personal preference, so I can see where the snare hits are. I know what the other stuff, what those are supposed to be, but I wanted an X for a snare, so that's what I'm doing forever.
That's for you. You have to read it, so it might as well be what you want. Yeah. Okay, so I know that we've talked about Mike. So are you part of Mike'sLessons.com, I'm assuming?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is he the only instructor that you've had, like as an online instructor or an in-person instructor?
Yes. Yep. I was pretty much self-taught up until, I started doing stuff with Holly. At that point, I started recognizing, well, actually I had one person that had pulled me aside and was the way that it was done felt rough around the edges, but they're like, I just don't feel like you feel the music when you play. And again, that might've come down to the rogue memorization, because I could just memorize something. I wasn't making it feel good. I was just playing the part that I knew. And because of that, I almost wanted to quit because I'm like, I thought it did feel great. But I started reaching out and looking online, and Drumeo is a great resource, but for some reason, when I saw Mike Johnston stuff, that really connected strong with me. So he's been the main one. I've done a little bit with Gabe with the drumming academy. I think that's what he calls it. But that's been pretty new, and it's more so a little cherry picking. I've been trying to do better about focusing on what's really important for me and our band, and making sure that I'm not just trying to learn the new fancy lick that I saw yesterday and then go over here and learn this Batucada, different crazy shuffle thing that I'll never need, because I'm trying to do this, get away from this more, and just get into what 4 things do I want to be excellent at, and then fill in little pieces around that, but really focusing my drive.
I love that. Very good. Very good. You guys, do you have something else for Nicole? Any other questions? Somebody wrote, I was checking the chat. Somebody just said that, sorry, they had to run. This was so awesome. That was Cindy to you, Nicole. One thing I wanted to ask, I know people that are going to be watching this in the future are going to want to know, how do they find you? How do they find your band? Is there a way that you could go to the chat before we leave or right after and drop your links so that they know how to support you and go to your shows and see where everything is going to be happening? So that hopefully, if you're this way, I would love to come to one of your shows as well. Tulsa area.
Oh, Tulsa. I was going to say, your area, remind me again. So,
yeah, Tulsa.
Nice. Yeah, don't think right now, because of coronavirus, I'm also helping put together our tour, like our touring run for the public. We've got lots of touring pages. And I don't think we have anything in Oklahoma yet. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. That'd be great. But yeah, as far as where you can find it, iamthey.com. I am they being THEY. I think all of our socials have switched to that. And then as far as me, I think I'll drop it all in there, but I think it's like Nicole Hickman 84, which is the year I was born. Might be some people.
Okay, that's awesome. So are you obviously on Facebook because you're in our group, and you're on Instagram?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Does I Am They have a YouTube channel?
We do, and I believe it's just I Am They.
Okay.
Type that, it should come up. We've got a little band logo. It's like a circle, and then there's all these lines and squiggles that is supposed to represent IAT for I Am They. You can imagine with us.
What about if they want to stream your music or buy an album or something like that? How do they get your music?
Yeah, if you want to buy an actual physical album, kudos to you. I Am They. We can get that sent out to you. And I think it might still be in Christian bookstores. I haven't been to a Christian bookstore in so long, but I'd imagine we're in all of those, and then Spotify, everywhere that you stream, we're there.
Okay, that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you would like for us to know about you?
Oh man, gosh, I think the only thing that comes to mind is just this idea of intentionality, that we all only have one life to live, and the world's going to tell you a million things that you're supposed to be good at. But I've loved this idea and concept of figuring out who I am, who I've been designed to be, and being okay with just chasing that I'm not going to be the crazy drummer that has all the chops, that shows off the latest and greatest fill. I'm just going to be the heartbeat. And I'm not the person that's going to be great at all of our radio interviews and that stuff. That's going to be Matt and Abby. They're phenomenal. I will support those two and make sure they're ready for it. They're going to have a great day leading up to that, so they can do it. So from me to you, as much as I've loved figuring out who I am and just going after that every day, being intentional with those things I've been entrusted to, the same for you. Figure out what those things are, and then run it down every day.
I love that so much. Just phenomenal. I love that. Has being part of this group of female drummers done anything to encourage you or support you in any way?
Yeah, it's been I think like I'd mentioned, I really didn't know any female drummers. You know, before I met Sarah Palmer, I had never run across any. I knew of Jen Ledger, but I hadn't met her at the time. So having a group of female drummers that I know exist, I think just helps me feel a little more normal. Because
yeah.
You know, you just feel like, again, when you're in and this isn't anything bad against the guys, but when you're in a career that it's all guys, you know, I just started to question myself, like, is this really right for me? Am I supposed to do this? But to see that there are so many other women that not only play drums, but love it as much as me, like, it checks the box of my heart, soul, mind, and body. Like, all for it when I play, it's just like I feel alive. And I know that this group is where I find people like me. So it's been very encouraging that way.
I love that. Very good. Nicole, you have been a complete and total joy. And I appreciate just everything that you've said and the way you live your life so much. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this. I really, really do appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you too. Absolutely honored just to have been considered for this. As I know the list of people that you are also talking with, I don't feel like I should be in this mix.
Oh, no. You absolutely deserve to be part of this. I'm excited. This week has already kicked off so wonderful having you here on Tuesday. Liz Ficalara, I think I'm saying her name correctly. She's out of Nashville as well. She's the one that designed Drum Chart Builder, and she's a phenomenal drummer. Then on Thursday, we have Hannah Welton, who used to play with Prince, and she's a phenomenal drummer. I am excited to meet her. I've never really talked to her before, and so that's going to be really fun. So, and she's a new member of our group, so I'm excited about that. So if you guys have a chance to pop in and watch any of those, I'd love to see you then. But I'm going to let you go, and I will send you a copy of this once it gets edited. All of our goofiness in the beginning and everything. I'll edit that out, and I'll put it on our YouTube channel, and I'll put it on our Facebook as well. So you can watch it and share it, hopefully with anyone that you want to. Okay?
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
Oh, you're very welcome. And Maya says thank you to Tammy and Nicole. So you are very welcome, Maya. Thank you for always being here. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
See you too.
All right. Bye-bye.